Good afternoon. This is All India Radio. I am Valsa Williams and with me is Abhishek Mukhopadhyay with the Midday News. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews the measures taken to boost production and supply of oxygen. More than 36 crore 89 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.19%, over 43,000 new cases reported in last 24 hours. Uttarakhand takes strict action to ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior in the state, especially tourist and religious places. India looks forward to working closely with Israel to deepen defence cooperation and strategic partnership, says Defence Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, to embark on a 2-day visit to Georgia from today, appreciates Russia's timely support to India during second wave of COVID-19. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic to lock horns with Denis Shapovalov, while Matteo Berrettini to take on Hubert Hurkacz in men's semi-final tonight. Ashley Barty to face Karolina Pliskova in women's singles final tomorrow. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also to help others to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today reviewed the progress of oxygen augmentation and availability across the country. During the review meeting, officials briefed the Prime Minister about the progress in installation of PSA oxygen plants. More than 1,500 PSA oxygen plants are being set up in the country. The Prime Minister was informed that once all PSA oxygen plants coming up through PM CARES are functional, they would support more than 4 lakh oxygenated beds. Mr. Modi instructed the officials to ensure that these plants are made functional at the earliest and work closely with the state governments. Officers apprised the Prime Minister that they are in regular touch with officers from state governments regarding fast-tracking the oxygen plants. The Prime Minister asked them to ensure adequate training of hospital staff on operation and maintenance of oxygen plants. He also directed to ensure that each district has trained personnel available. Officials informed him that there is a training module prepared by experts and they are targeting training of around 8,000 people across the country. During the meeting, Mr. Modi also stressed on deploying advanced technology like Internet of Things to track performance and functioning of these oxygen plants at a local and national level. Principal Secretary to Prime Minister P.K. Mishra, Cabinet Secretary Rajiv Gauba, Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, Housing and Urban Affairs Secretary D.S. Mishra and other senior officials attended the meeting.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed concern over the violation of corona-appropriate behavior. Sources say in the meeting of Council of Ministers yesterday, Mr. Modi said, over the past few days, pictures and videos of crowded places and people roaming about without masks or social distancing have been emerging. He said this is not a pleasant sight and it should instill a sense of fear in us. In the first meeting of the Council of Ministers yesterday, after the cabinet expansion, the Prime Minister stressed that powered by COVID warriors and frontline workers, India's fight against the global pandemic is underway with full vigour. Mr. Modi added that at such a time, there should not be any space for carelessness or complacency. He cautioned that a single mistake will have far-reaching impacts and weaken the fight to overcome COVID-19. In view of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's concern over the violation of corona-appropriate behavior, in Uttarakhand, administration has been taking strict action to ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior in the state, especially tourist and religious places like Mussoorie, Nainital and Haridwar districts of the state. At Tourist Place, Campty Fall, the district administration of Tehri Garhwal has been strictly enforcing social distancing norms. According to the district administration, not more than 50 persons would be allowed inside the pool at a time. Police personnel are carefully monitoring the entry and exit to the pool. In Mussoorie, the tourists are not allowed to go to Mall Road without RT-PCR negative report. Hoteliers are also asked to maintain COVID protocol.
The central government has provided over 38 crore 18 lakh COVID vaccine doses to states and union territories so far. The Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry said more than 1 crore 70 lakh unutilized COVID vaccine doses are still available with the states and union territories to be administered to beneficiaries. The central government has assured that more than 23 lakh 80,000 vaccine doses will be received by the states and union territories in the coming days. More than 36 crore 89 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Union Health Ministry said more than 40 lakh 23,000 vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has improved to 97.19%. Over 44,000 patients recovered from the infection during the last 24 hours. Till now, more than 2 crore 98 lakh people have recovered from COVID-19. India reported 43,393 new cases in the last 24 hours. The active caseload currently stands at 4,58,727. 911 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. With this, the death toll due to the pandemic has reached 4,05,939.
Madhya Pradesh reported 26 new COVID-19 cases, while fatality count reached 9,023 yesterday. Meanwhile, more than 6 lakh people got the dose of corona vaccine under the vaccination campaign yesterday. Vaccinations were carried out at 3,389 centers across the state. More from a Bhopal correspondent.
The number of active cases in the state reduced to 416, while 47 patients were recovered from infection. Bhopal reported 10 and Indore reported 5 new cases. Out of the 52 districts in the state, 43 did not record a single new case. COVID vaccination Mahabhiyan will be conducted in 27 districts of the state on July 10th, and in the remaining districts, maintenance work of cold chain for COVID vaccination will be done. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
Bihar government has made special arrangement for vaccination of old and Divyang persons at their home. Health Minister Mangal Pandey said if any old and Divyang person inform on telephone about availing COVID vaccination, then health officials will visit at their residence to vaccinate. For availing this facility, concerned people have to dial helpline number 102.
In Assam, 2.48% COVID-19 positivity rate was reported in the state yesterday. Official sources said 2,644 positive cases were reported in this period, while 21 persons succumbed to COVID-19. On the other hand, 94.72% recovery rate was reported yesterday. Meanwhile, in view of the rise in COVID cases in Guwahati, the Kamrup Metro District Administration has reconstituted the task force to ensure strict enforcement of COVID-19 protocols to prevent the spread of the disease. West Bengal has administered over 2 crore 36 lakh doses of COVID vaccine so far. Over 1 crore 75 lakh people got the first dose, while 60 lakh 63,000 got the second dose. Our Kolkata correspondent reports that the state has now given priority to complete the vaccine doses of people who have got the first jab and hinted at allowing more relaxation to the COVID-induced restrictions.
Though the overall infection rate has been declining, some districts like Paschim Medinipur, Jhargram and Darjeeling have recorded marginal growth in fresh COVID cases. The state administration asked the districts to inquire into the reasons behind it and to keep vigil regarding maintenance of strict COVID protocol. The infection rate has come under control in Kolkata and North 24 Parganas, which were at the top of the list with highest infection rate and COVID deaths. In both the districts, new COVID cases came under 100 in the past few days. The administration hinted at allowing more relaxation if the overall situation remains satisfactory. Madhuparna Dharsudhuri for AIR News, Kolkata.
Odisha today reported a record 61 COVID-19 fatalities. With this, the state's COVID-19 death toll has gone up to 4,471.
Even as the COVID-19 fatalities in Odisha keeps on mounting, the state government has clarified that the fatalities being reported daily also include past deaths after due death audit. Meanwhile, the state reported a fresh infection of about 2,800 persons in the last 24 hours, pulling the cumulative positive tally up to about 9,35,000. The state that still is under partial lockdown due to COVID-19 has an active caseload of above 27,000 as of now. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Even as Maharashtra has been making a steady progress in inoculating its masses with COVID-19 vaccines, the state as a whole has still not received a tangible respite from the daily caseload. Yesterday, the state achieved an important milestone of administering more than 3.5 crore vaccine doses. The state government on its part has been reiterating that the second wave of COVID-19 has not subsided completely and has been asking people to follow protocol to stop the spread of the infection. More from a Mumbai correspondent.
Fearing possible rise in cases of COVID-19 in the state, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has asked the administration to gear up to produce oxygen and supply it district-wise. He has also asked the administration to create awareness among people and to encourage them to take the second dose of vaccine. The CM was informed by the district collectors that the COVID positivity rate in Kolhapur, Satara, Sangli, Raigad, Ratnagiri and Sindhudurg has been declining. Mr. Thackeray has also directed the health department to do genome sequencing in Ahmednagar's Parner Taluka. Further, the CM said that to make a village free from coronavirus, the district collectors should convene a meeting with the Sarpanch. Health Minister Rajesh Tope stressed on scaling up testing where the cases are on rise and to stress on institutional quarantine instead of home quarantine. He said if the private hospitals demand for more doses of vaccines, then it will give further momentum to the vaccination drive. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Newly appointed Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has ordered officials and staffers in his office to work in 2 shifts. The first shift will start at 7 a.m. and the second at 3 p.m. Mr. Vaishnav, an alumnus of IIT Kanpur and Wharton School, Pennsylvania, was an IAS officer and also held leadership roles across major global companies. New Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia took charge today. Former Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri handed over charge to him. MOS Civil Aviation General V.K. Singh also assumed charge. Mansukh Mandavia took charge of Chemicals and Fertilizers Ministry. Yesterday, he had assumed the charge of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry. After taking charge, Mr. Mandavia said he is committed to serve the nation by moving on the path of self-reliant India under the guidance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Heavy Industries Minister Dr. Mahendranath Pandey and Minister of State for Housing and Urban Affairs Kaushal Kishore also took charge.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today spoke to the grandson of former Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Kalyan Singh and inquired about the health of the senior leader. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said countless people across the country are praying for the speedy recovery of Mr. Singh. He said yesterday BJP President J.P. Nadda, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath and others went to the hospital to meet him. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled the assassination of President of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse, and the attack on First Lady, Martine Moïse. In a tweet, the Prime Minister expressed grief and extended condolences to the family of the President Moïse and the people of Haiti.
The BJP National President J.P. Nadda visited Himachal Pradesh to pay his last respects to former Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh at the Ridge Maidan in Shimla today. He placed a wreath on the mortal remains of the former Chief Minister. He expressed his condolences to Pratibha Singh, the former Chief Minister's wife, and his son, MLA from Shimla Rural, Vikramaditya Singh. The BJP National President also visited Governor's house to inquire about the well-being of Governor Bandaru Dattatreya. Meanwhile, former All India Congress Committee President Rahul Gandhi also visited Shimla to pay his respects to former Chief Minister Veerbhadra Singh at the State Congress Office, Rajiv Bhavan, today. Leaders across the party line have condoled the passing of Veerbhadra Singh. Earlier today, the mortal remains of veteran Congress leader have been kept at the Ridge Maidan for the public to pay their last respects from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. The mortal remains of the former Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister will be cremated at Rampur in Shimla tomorrow. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, after having threadbare discussions with stakeholders, the Delimitation Commission today said the exercise to redraw boundaries of assembly constituencies of the Union Territory is a very complex issue and not mere arithmetic. The Commission, however, said the process will be completed in a very transparent manner, and the draft prepared by it will be put in a public domain for objections and queries, after which associate members of the Commission will be consulted for preparing the final draft. The members of the Commission, however, hinted at giving a due representation to the people belonging to ST and SC groups in the Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory in the newly constituted Assembly. Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari has said use of steel and cement should be reduced in road construction without compromising on quality. Addressing a conference on road development in India today, Mr. Gadkari said CNG, LNG and ethanol should be used for the road equipment machinery. He emphasized on import substitution, cost-effective, pollution-free and indigenous methods and development of alternative fuel.
You are listening to the Midday News on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews the measures taken to boost production and supply of oxygen. More than 36 crore 89 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.19%. Over 43,000 new cases reported in last 24 hours. Uttarakhand takes strict action to ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior in the state, especially tourist and religious places. India looks forward to working closely with Israel to deepen defense cooperation and strategic partnership, says Defense Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, to embark on a two-day visit to Georgia from today, appreciates Russia's timely support to India during second wave of COVID-19. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic to lock horns with Denis Shapovalov, while Matteo Berrettini to take on Hubert Hurkacz in the men's semi-final tonight. Ashley Barty to face Karolina Pliskova in the women's singles final tomorrow. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
The Centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The Child Helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. The Ayush COVID-19 Counselling helpline number is 14443. And MyGov WhatsApp help desk number is 9013151515.
Welcome back to the Midday News. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today held a telephonic conversation with Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defence of Israel, Lieutenant General Benjamin Gantz. Mr. Singh congratulated him on assuming the charge of Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defence of Israel. In a tweet, the minister said he looks forward to working closely with Israel to deepen defence cooperation and advance the strategic partnership. Mr. Singh also thanked him for the assistance provided to India by Israel for handling the COVID-19 pandemic. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will pay a two-day official visit to Georgia today at the invitation of the Vice Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of Georgia, David Zalkalaini. This will be the first visit of an Indian External Affairs Minister to independent Georgia. During the visit, the External Affairs Minister will have bilateral meeting with his counterpart covering various aspects of bilateral relations as well as exchange views on issues of regional and global interest. Earlier, the External Affairs Minister appreciated Russia's timely support during the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in India and also for the Sputnik V collaboration.
India and the United Kingdom held the inaugural meeting of the India-UK Financial Markets Dialogue virtually last evening. The dialogue was established at the 10th Economic and Financial Dialogue in October last year to deepen bilateral ties in the financial sector. The dialogue was led by senior officials from the Indian side, by the Ministry of Finance and from UK Treasury, with participation from Indian and UK independent regulatory agencies. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has called for an all-party meeting to discuss the issue of Mekadatu Reservoir on the 12th of this month. A report.
The all-party meeting will discuss and take a unified stand on the Meghdadu reservoir issue. Tamil Nadu had appealed to Prime Minister Narendra Modi and had presented a memorandum during the Chief Minister's recent visit to Delhi. The government said that Karnataka should abide by the orders of the Supreme Court and the state government cannot allow any hindrance in Kaveri water supply, which is the lifeline of scores of farmers living in the Delta region. The state also reiterated the appeal when Water Resources Minister Duraimurugan met Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat recently in Delhi. AA News, Chennai.
Telugu Desam Party Telangana President L. Ramana quit his post and also the party. In a letter to TDP National President N. Chandrababu Naidu, he expressed his plans to join TRS and strive for development of the Telangana state. He thanked the TDP for supporting his political career for over 3 decades. Seva Bharati, the NGO working amongst the economically weaker sections of society, has come forward with a noble plan to help children of sex workers. The organization is working to provide education to the children. More details in this report.
Seva Bharati has helped the sex workers during both the waves of the pandemic. The organization has now come forward to help the children, especially girls, of these workers. Talking to All India Radio News, Sukhdev Bharadwaj, one of the volunteers of Seva Bharati, informed that they have planned to establish a hostel named Aparajita for these girls to impart better education and lifestyle to them. The hostel will be inaugurated this month.
Aparajita नाम से एक छात्रावास प्रारंभ करने का निर्णय किया और उसके अंदर हमें सफलता भी मिली। दिल्ली के शांति निकेतन में वहाँ पर एक छात्रावास छोटे रूप में भी प्रारंभ कर रहे हैं। 8 से 10 बच्चों को अभी हम वहाँ पे रखेंगे। बच्चियों का सिलेक्शन हो चुका है, उनसे मिलना हो गया है। 15 जुलाई के बाद कभी भी हम उस छात्रावास को शुरू कर सकेंगे।
Seva Bharati had distributed ration amongst the sex workers in the first wave. Now they are convincing these workers to get vaccinated against COVID-19 as soon as possible. Diksha Saxena for AIR News, Delhi.
At least 3 people died and 25 others injured as a juice factory caught fire at Roopganj in Narayanganj near Dhaka. The fire broke out in the 6-story building late on Thursday evening. The fire was brought under control in the early hours of Friday, but the operation to rescue the trapped people was continuing, says UNB quoting fire service officers. This is All India Radio giving you the news.
दुनिया रंग बिरंगी, खट्टे मीठे रसीले समाचारों का सतरंगी खजाना आकाशवाणी पर। खबरें होंगी हटकर, जानेंगे कुछ अलग, हंसेंगे खुलकर, करेंगे सजग। सुनना न भूलें सोमवार और मंगलवार 8 सवेरे तथा शनिवार और रविवार कार्यक्रम परिक्रमा में।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi today reviewed preparations for facilitation of India's contingent at the Tokyo Olympics. Mr. Modi discussed the logistical details, the vaccination status and the multidisciplinary support being given. On the 13th of this month, the Prime Minister will interact with Tokyo-bound athletes virtually. In a tweet, he said he would be interacting with Olympics-bound athletes to wish them luck. In his Mann Ki Baat on All India Radio last month, Mr. Modi had stated that all Indian athletes heading to the Tokyo Olympics have worked hard for long and urged the nation to come forward and support them. Sharing the struggles and triumphs, the Prime Minister said that all our sportspersons can be seen as inspirations. With only a few days to go for Tokyo Olympic Games, All India Radio today talks about medal prospects of the Indian men's hockey team.
hockey team went to their first Olympics in 1928, they stunned the world as they took home a gold medal. Over the course of around 50 years, the team brought home 11 medals, out of which 8 were gold. In the last 3 Olympic Games, the men's team failed to make the cut in 2008 and moved up to 8th in Rio while finishing 12th in London. For Tokyo, however, there's a fair amount of optimism and expectation from the side who are currently ranked 4th. In the 2020 FIH Pro League, India registered 2 wins over Netherlands and drew 1-1 against the top-ranked Belgium and Australia. Earlier in the year, in April, India have twice beaten defending Olympic champions Argentina in the same tournament. For coach Graham Reed's side, the toughest challengers at the Games are likely to be Belgium, Australia, Holland and Argentina. India are placed in Pool A in the men's event. With Manpreet Singh at the helm, the Indian team has achieved important milestones including winning the Asia Cup in 2017, the Asian Championships trophy in 2018 as well as winning the FIH Series final in 2019 over the past 4 years. India also made the quarterfinals of the 2018 World Cup in Bhubaneswar. The hopes from the Indian hockey team are high as it looks to bring India glory once again at the Olympics. Sports Desk, AIR News.
Listeners from all corners of the country are participating in the Olympic quiz of AIR News. To participate in the Olympic quiz, tune in to our program Sports Scan at 7:20 p.m. every day.
In the run-up to the Tokyo Olympics, the News Services Division of All India Radio in its Sports Scan program is broadcasting every day Olympics quiz with AIR News. Olympics quiz आकाशवाणी समाचार के साथ in Hindi. Every day a question related to Olympics will be asked at the beginning and closing of the program. To participate in this program, listeners can send the replies by email on airsportscan@gmail.com. The first correct answer received through email will be adjudged the winner of the quiz. The name of the winner will be announced in Sports Scan program the next day. It will also be flashed on AIR Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. The Sports Authority of India will provide India team jersey to the winner. So tune in to the Sports Scan program every day at 7:20 p.m. on FM Gold and on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
In Wimbledon tennis in men's singles, 7th seed Matteo Berrettini will take on 14th seed Hubert Hurkacz in the first semi-finals, while world number 1 Novak Djokovic will lock horns with 10th seed Denis Shapovalov in the second semi-final this evening. Top seed Ashley Barty will face 8th seed Karolina Pliskova in the women's singles final in London tomorrow.
Now let us take a look at the weather update for the day. The national capital Delhi is likely to have thunderstorm with rain. Mumbai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Chennai may have generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. Kolkata is expected to witness generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Jammu is likely to have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Srinagar may witness mainly clear sky. Temperature will hover between 20 and 33 degrees Celsius. Leh is likely to have mainly clear sky. Gilgit is expected to have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 17 and 34 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 38 degrees. Itanagar will have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Kohima is likely to have generally cloudy sky with heavy rain. Imphal may have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Agartala is expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature is 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 35 degrees.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews measures taken to boost production and supply of oxygen. More than 36 crore 89 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccine administered so far under nationwide vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 97.19%, over 43,000 new cases reported in last 24 hours. Uttarakhand takes strict action to ensure COVID-19 appropriate behavior in the state, especially tourist and religious places. India looks forward to working closely with Israel to deepen defense cooperation and strategic partnership, says Defense Minister. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, to embark on a 2-day visit to Georgia from today, appreciates Russia's timely support to India during second wave of COVID-19. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic to lock horns with Denis Shapovalov, while Matteo Berrettini to take on Hubert Hurkacz in men's semi-final tonight. Ashley Barty to face Karolina Pliskova in women's singles final tomorrow. And with that, we end the midday news.